Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream. Once again, running a little bit late, but I made it in here just in the nick of time. I hope everyone's having like a wonderful weekend. Once again, I appreciate everybody showing up. Also, just give me like a thumbs up and just a couple of comments just to let me know that the live stream is being broadcast well. Like the sound is good. The picture quality is okay. I'm just going to hook up my phone. I was really running a little bit late this morning. But let me pull up the stream so I make sure I don't miss any comments in case they come on the phone. Let me get myself set up. Because actually, as you know, I was on vacation. I was on vacation last week. So we didn't do the live stream last Sunday, and we didn't get home late. So I wasn't sure if I was even going to do the live stream today, but I woke up really early and set the whole thing up. So I'm glad. Just give me another couple of seconds just to get this thing going, and then we'll jump right into the topic. What I want to talk about today is my weight loss calorie formula, because it really is so important. Even if you're intermittent fasting, time restricted eating, it's still important to keep an eye on how many calories you're eating. And then we'll answer everybody's questions. I know, let's pull in some people. We got some people. I'm assuming everything's good. Hey, Rosie's here. Good morning from New York, which is wonderful. Well, also, I always say, let me know if I don't know who you are. I may know everyone. If I don't know who you are, let me know where you're from when you leave a comment. Oh, Patali. Oh, thanks for showing up from the UK. Awesome. Good afternoon. And we got Harriet again. Harriet from New York. Harriet's here every week too, which is wonderful. Gene, my man Gene, he's doing great. Wonderful. Thanks for showing up again, Gene. Then we got Jeff from Texas. Sounds fine here in Texas. Okay, coffee ready. Oh, sounds good. Cool. And Melissa. Hey, Melissa, thanks for showing up again. I like your photo shot. That's a great picture, too. That's great. Okay, let's get started with this thing. I just want to pull up, because I don't want to miss anyone's comment on my phone. Because sometimes, for some reason, I don't know why, I miss some comments and I only get them on the phone. So let me make sure that's good. Okay, let's get this thing started. Once again, I got my Pellegrino seltzer water. Stay hydrated when you're in a fasted state. I haven't eaten anything yet today, so I'm going to take my 90-minute to 2-hour walk right after this live stream. But let's jump right into it. Okay, how many calories when you're fasting? But let me first introduce myself. I know everyone knows me, but maybe there's some new people. My name is 𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. I've been a fitness trainer, gym owner, for well over 30 years. Opened up my first gym in 1989. So I've helped literally thousands of people lose weight, burn body fat, put on muscle, and get into amazing shape. So that's who I am if you don't know who I am. Okay, so let's go. How many calories should you be eating when you're fasting? And this is what we're going to kind of cover today. So first we're going to go over why calories really do count, even if you're intermittent fasting. And we all know there's so many benefits to being in a fasted state. There's so many hormonal benefits and increasing insulin sensitivity, but also calories really do count. And later on in the presentation, some of these other slides, I'll go into great detail of how you can do it, how you can cycle calories, how you can be in a calorie deficit without necessarily counting calories. But I do think it's a really good idea every now and then to count calories, especially if you're hitting weight loss plateaus or just for long-term weight loss. It's good to know how many calories you're eating every day. And we'll go over all the pros and cons. And so we're going to go over my calorie deficit formula. I'll explain exactly how many calories I think you should be eating every day for maintenance calories and to be in a deficit. Then we'll go over the importance of cycling calories, why it's so important to some days, some weeks, some months to eat more and others to eat less. And then we'll go over how you can use intermittent fasting and time-restricted eating to be in a calorie deficit, like I just said, without necessarily counting calories all the time. And then we'll do our typical Q&A at the end, but you're going to ask questions along the way. And I'll show you some of my meal ideas. Plus, I was away on vacation last week, so I'm going to show you some of the meals that I was eating when I was away. We had a wonderful time. We went out to Sag Harbor, the beach, Long Island, Hamptons. If you're not from New York, actually, Hamptons is kind of like kind of a cool beach area that a lot of people go to from New York. So it really was a lot of fun, and we've been going out there since I'm a kid, and so I really, really love it. Okay, so let's go over this exact calorie formula. And some of these things, obviously, if you show up every single week and you watch all my YouTube videos, you're going to be familiar with some of my formulas. But I kind of tweaked it a little bit because I find that my typical formula, like this calorie deficit formula you're looking at in this slide, I think this is ideal when you don't necessarily have to lose a tremendous amount of weight. I love this formula. Say you have to lose 10, 20, even 30 pounds, but you'll see in the next slide, if you have to lose like 50, 100 pounds, I'm going to want you to modify this formula. But let's go over it. So the calorie deficit is you're going to multiply your body weight by 10 or 11. You know, I'm not getting the comments on my let me restart this again. I'm not getting the comments on my phone. It's still saying, I hope we didn't have that same problem again. Maybe we had this once before where it says upcoming. No, I think I'm good now. Okay. So the general calorie deficit formula that I like to go by is you take your body weight and you multiply it by 10 or 11. So for example, let's say you're 175 pounds. So you multiply your body weight by 10, and that gives you, I think, a pretty good calorie deficit of 1,750 calories. Okay, and then when it comes to maintenance calories, because you're going to see we're going to be cycling calories, like some days eating more, some days eating less, or even some weeks eating more, some weeks eating less. You know, it's good to kind of know what your maintenance calories are. And what I mean by maintenance calories, that's the amount of food you're going to be eating where you're not losing, you're not gaining weight, you're at equilibrium, you're at maintenance. And I used to always say maybe 500 calories, 750 calories beyond where your deficit is, which you could use that. But there's another way of doing it where you can just multiply your body weight by 15. So for example, if you're 175 pounds, you multiply that by 15, and your maintenance calories are 2,625. And I did some research. I think Harvard did a little report. One of the Harvard newsletters did a report on 15 times body weight is a great way for maintenance calories. And obviously, this is still just a general average. If you're really active, like my son who runs 70, 80 miles a week, you know, his maintenance calories is going to be much higher than a guy like me who's working out an hour, you know, most days. You know, he's just burning an insane amount of calories. And you can take this a step further by going online. You can Google it, and there's actually calorie deficit formulas, and you can enter your weight, your age, you know, your activity level, and you can make this even more exact. But I kind of like this general formula. If you're looking to lose 10, 20, 30 pounds, take your body weight, multiply it by 10, maybe even 11. That'll be a calorie deficit. Take your body weight, multiply it by 15, and that's going to be your maintenance calories. Okay, let's see. I think we got Melissa's got some. Hey, Carol Jean, thanks for showing up. Cool, I'm glad you're here. Melissa's here, 175 here. So if you weigh 175, 5'9", what's 215? Whoa, you're killing it. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. That's wonderful. You're really doing well. So if you're 175 now, and if that's not your goal weight, you still want to lose weight, you can multiply your body weight by 10 and 1,750 calories. I think that'll be a nice calorie deficit for you. You know, if you want to get down, really get down, I don't know, 5'9", I'm not sure what you think is your ideal goal weight is. You can let me know if you want. I'll tell you what I think. But I think that'll be a good calorie deficit for you. But let's talk about if you really have like a lot of weight to lose. Let's say you got to lose 50 or more pounds. Let's say you're even 100 pounds overweight. So let me give you an example. Then I'd like you to modify the formula and really go more with your goal weight when you're calculating your calorie deficit. I think that makes more sense. Let's say you're, let's say like in this example, let's say you're 250 pounds, but you'd like to weigh 175. So let's say you want to lose 75 pounds. You can speed up this whole process by going with your goal weight when calculating your calorie deficit. So I would take 175 pounds. I gave 11. You can even go lower. You can even go 10. Let's say 11, you multiply your body weight by 11. So your deficit day will be 1,925 calories. If you want to go 10 times, it'll be 1,750, just like the other example. But your maintenance calories are going to be pretty much the same, which is 15 times your body weight. So your maintenance calories will be like the normal formula, multiply it by 15. So keep that in mind. If you really have a lot of weight to lose, same thing when we're going to be calculating how much protein I think you should take. You can go with your goal weight if you have a lot of weight to lose. I find that the formula works better that way. We'll talk about protein. Let's see what Melissa's got here. Okay. Yes. Yes. What would be ideal according to my BMI? Say 146, but I look too skinny. I think it depends too on how much muscle you have in your body. But 5'9", 150, 160. I mean, I think you look great at that weight. Unless you're really, if you're happy at 175, I'm sure that's a healthy weight for you at 5'9". I would want you obviously to be resistance training and to be working out to maintain that muscle mass. I would just really, if your blood work is good, right? If your cholesterol is good, if your blood pressure is good, if your inflammatory markers like C-reactive proteins, things like that are all in line, and you're 175 pounds, and you really would have, I think that's a great weight for you, unless you want to be thinner. And once again, right? You can get down to a lighter weight if you don't like how you look. If you feel you look too thin, it's easy to put the weight on, right? But you should be resistance training and doing things like that. I forget the actress, because I'm old. I always talk about my age now because I'm turning 60. I forget what actress, it would have like Betty Davis or one of those actresses said many years ago on an interview that she always had to determine if she wanted her face to look good on film or she wanted her butt to look good on film. Because if she lost too much weight, like from the neck down, she really loved how her body looked, but her face looked too thin. So she had to kind of like juggle, between 5 or 10 pounds here or there, depending upon the movie, depending on the role she was in, which is really true. Sometimes you get too thin in the face if you're that type of body type, for the rest of your body to look good. Normally I have a tissue here. I don't want to, I hate when my face gets all, sweaty from the lights. I got a whole bunch of lights and cameras here to get this good picture. Okay, so let's go over, let's see, I think, we got a cut. Oh, Michael's here too. Late to the party here. Afternoon. Oh, no, thanks for showing up, Michael. I appreciate it. I even started late today. I started 11:30 instead of starting at 11 o'clock. Okay, so let's go over my protein. This is that's why I even put some exclamation point. It's so important to make sure you eat an adequate amount of protein, especially when you're in a calorie deficit. Yes, my face would show major stress. Yeah, I know. If you get too thin or something, it's kind of hard. I find it's even more difficult for women because women generally have that body type where their whole body fat, on their hips and their butt, whereas men hold it, in their gut. So, I think it's a little bit harder for women to get that ideal ratio between their face looking at an ideal weight in their body. It's just harder. Unfortunately, just how it is. All right, Gene. Well, hey, Gene. Thanks again. Once again, Gene with his super chat. Every week he gives me a super chat, which I really appreciate. Helps me keep this whole process going. Let's see. Having done the very low calorie diet with an exact calorie count for many weeks, I can tell you that this maintenance formula is spot. Oh, Max, I really appreciate it. That sounds great. So you like that 15 times you're saying, or 500 to 750 calories more? It comes out about the same when I do it most of the time, but I like that because I know Gene is more on the level. He wanted to lose a lot of weight. He's doing great, so I really appreciate that, Gene. Thanks. Plus, it's great for everyone else to hear that because it really does work, which is cool. Okay, so it's Jeff. Even when I get down to 167, I still have a gut. So I guess my goal weight would be lower than that, but 1,600 calories a day is pretty rough. I know it is pretty hard to go that, but in your case, what I would do is look at it like this, and we're going to talk about this. When it comes to being in a calorie deficit, and when it comes to cycling calories, you have to look at it like week to week or month to month, right? So, for example, you don't necessarily have to go 1,600 for 2 weeks straight. You can really mix it up. Maybe you can have one difficult day, right? Or like I'm saying, maybe you're going to see when we get to the end of this, maybe you can just tough it out. I know if you've done this in the past, and do like a 24-hour fast, like once every 2 weeks. But then when you're calculating your calories for the month, it can really help you be in a calorie deficit. Plus, you get the benefit of cycling your calories. So it's not like, my whole system, and that I'm into this intermittent fasting and time-restricted eating, and even studies have been shown, some studies have shown this, but not all, that it works better to cycle, to have some lower calorie days, some higher calorie days, as opposed to just like toughing it out, eating 1,600 calories a day in Jeff's example, and just always being a little hungry. And even if you're intermittent fasting, there are days when you really should go to maintenance. As long as you're in the deficit every month or every quarter, even if you look like that, every 3 months when you're calculating. I find so many people have trouble with that, and people that I've worked with over the years where, they're good for a week or two, they're good for a day or two, but when you calculate the calories for like the quarter, for a 3-month period, they're over maintenance, and they don't understand why they're not losing weight, so you really, that's why it's so good to keep track for a few months and just see where you are. And when it comes to losing your gut, I know, Jeff, for men, that's my issue too. It's funny because I just had like a cheat week in the Hamptons when I went away. I feel like everything went right to my stomach. So I really tightened it up. I couldn't even do it the last day of my trip. I had to do like an OMAD day. I only had one meal. I'm going to show you the meal that I ate too later on, which is kind of rough. But just for men, it's the gut. For women, it's the hips and thighs. Unfortunately, it's just how it is, right? Okay, so let's go over. So this is my protein formula. You may have heard this before, but it's good to reinforce it. Ideally, I would say 0.9 grams per pound of lean body weight. Obviously, it's so hard to know exactly what your lean body weight is, but I always give this example. Let's say you're 150 pounds, you're 20% body fat. That means your lean body weight is 120. Multiply that by 0.9, that's 108 grams of protein. I just want to make sure you're taking enough protein. But if you just want to keep it really simple, I think another really easy way of doing it is just to go like maybe 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. You can just do it like that. It'll be pretty close. I personally would even go 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And once again, this formula is more if you don't have to lose a tremendous amount of weight. Like for example, if you're 300 pounds and your goal weight is 200, I don't want you eating 300 grams of protein. I don't think you can eat it. You can always go with your goal weight. Whenever you have to lose 50 pounds or more, use your goal weight. And, but maintenance, unfortunately, is going to be the same, which is not unfortunate. It's good for you because you get to eat more on maintenance days. Let's see. Let's see what 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 says. Okay. There are in-office devices now that can freeze fat off. Yeah, I've heard it around the tummy area for women, so you don't have to lose too much anywhere else. I know, it's interesting. A number of my clients have asked me about that, and I've seen the commercials. They've even read a little bit about it. It seems to like freeze the fat. I don't know where, like exactly where that fat goes in that. I don't know if it can overstress your system if you're releasing those. Is it breaking the fat up? Does it just come right out in your poop? Do you burn it up? I'm not sure, but I know they do it, and they say there really is something to it, that it really does work. I think I had a couple of clients do it. I had a guy even do it a couple of years ago where they kind of used this machine and they rolled his midsection. He felt like it was helping a little bit. I don't know. I can't say I'm an expert on that, and I don't know, like if you got like 20, 30 pounds to lose, like is it really going to make a difference, or we're just talking a few pounds here or there? Kind of hard to say. Okay, so maybe 𝘾𝙊𝙃. Did you try a 𝘾𝙃? I'd be curious to know. It works over time. I've seen, but you need to stay vigilant with your diet. No doubt, obviously, the combination obviously will work the best, right? Okay. Nope. My belly fat needs to go, but this is mostly saggy belly from 3 pregnancies. Yeah, I know the pregnancies is kind of tough. Really is. TVA, I would definitely do. In that case, I definitely would just, do a lot of, core section type work. I do TVA, I do vacuums. I don't know if you're familiar with that vacuum exercise. TVA is called your transverse abdominals. It's that abdominal muscle that runs across your midsection. It kind of makes a corset around your stomach. And there's a classic bodybuilding exercise called a vacuum, which really hits TVA. A vacuum is an exercise where you blow all the air out of your body. And once all the air's out of your body, you suck your stomach in. And I'm going to show you this. I'm going to lift the mic up so you can see the picture behind me, and I'm going to change the camera. See this? See Frank Zane here? This is my favorite bodybuilder. This is a classic vacuum pose. Can you see that? How he's vacuuming. See how he's sucking in all the air of his stomach. And what muscle is doing that is the transverse abdominals, that corset muscle. And this was a really popular exercise like back in the 80s and 90s. Even Franco Colombo was a big believer in it. And sometimes I find like in general though, doing your abs, doing the ab work doesn't really get rid of body fat around your stomach, but it can tighten things up. especially TVA. And I love the vacuum exercise. Google it. I even did a couple of videos on it a long time ago. I think they're on the channel, but I can make another one for you, Melissa, if you want. But I would just do, and I also love the non-movement exercise. I would do your front planks, your rolling planks, your side planks. You know, hit the midsection as much as you can without hurting yourself, obviously, right? Okay, cool. And I know the pregnancies that my wife had twins. You know, my wife is small, petite gal, you know, like 5'2", 110, 114 pounds. You know, she gained 52 pounds, you know, with my kids, all in her midsection. But it came back pretty good for her, you know, even though, and my wife's just a walker and an intermittent faster. She eats great, doesn't do too much exercise, but she looks incredible, my wife, which is great. Okay, this is what Juicy's got here. I know Juicy's from the UK too. Went to a 2,000 calorie diet today for a little diet break down to one. I think that's great, and that's a pretty good. I don't have my calculator here, but that's probably a pretty good maintenance for you. So you're up to maybe 3, 4. You can even go a little bit high, Juicy. I think you can probably even go 21, 2200 if you want to. But that sounds great. I think you needed a break because I know you leave a lot of comments, which I really appreciate. And I always felt that maybe you were overdoing a little bit. I know you were doing a 48-hour fast every single week, along with like 18-6 and 16-8. So I think it's a good idea because I know you're doing well with the weight loss, that you take a diet break. I think that's smart, definitely. So, Melissa again, okay, need ice on the belly. Check it out. I mean, I don't know, 𝘾𝙊𝙼𝙃, if that's a really expensive thing. I think you know, it's interesting too because my father owned a hair salon in New York for like 48 years. He's in semi-retirement now, but he's still working a little bit. You know, incredible hairdresser. He's one of the best hairdressers in New York. And I think he was approached to put those type of machines in his hair salon. He had like a multi-level salon spa, and he had acupuncture, and he even had like you know, Botox. He had you know, plastic surgeons working at the salon. It really was a great salon. I think he was approached to put those machines in there at one point too. No, I have. So she hasn't tried it. It would be it would just be vanity fat around the belly. Yeah, no, I agree too. Just a little bit. It's almost like instead of getting like a liposuction, you know, like say you're pretty lean and you just can't get those love handles if you're a guy, or maybe there's like a little section in your hips if you're a gal and you're pretty lean, you just can't get rid of it. Then I don't even think doing liposuction is a bad thing. I think it's fine. If it makes you feel good, why not? If you got the money and you want to spend it, maybe try something like that. Maybe that's something that can really work for you. Okay. Now this is Jeff. Okay, my weight keeps bouncing back and forth. Okay. Let me start this over. My weight keeps bouncing back and forth in the 220 to 226 range on alternate day fasting (ADF). I thought it would work better with more weight to lose, but it has actually been harder. Made me need to cut feast days, calm down. Yeah, you know. It's interesting. My general rule is, and I know you've heard me say this, is that the more, you know, the shorter the eating window or the more aggressive fasting strategy, for most people, you're going to be eating less. There's no question about it. But once you start doing these strategies and you get really comfortable with them, like let's say Jeff's been doing this and he's really comfortable with the alternate day fasting. He's doing really well. But then all of a sudden you'd be surprised. You can start really creeping up the calories on that day that you do eat, and it can almost mess things up. So maybe it's time for you to take a break from the alternate day fasting. You did well with it, and maybe do something a little bit more less aggressive. Maybe take a diet break for a couple of weeks, go to maintenance calories, then maybe do just a basic 18-6 and just mix it up a little bit. You know, there's no, you know, set way of doing it, and it also doesn't mean, Jeff, that you can't go back to, right, alternate day fasting 3-6 months from now. You know, but start tracking everything. I know it takes a little bit of time, but once you get good at MyFitnessPal, which I love, once you put all your foods in there, and you can, you know, it takes you, every time you eat something, it takes you 2 minutes. Like all my foods are in MyFitnessPal. So now that I'm back from vacation, I felt like I overdid a little bit. I'm gonna tighten up within a couple of weeks. I'm gonna track. And definitely until I reach my birthday, I'm probably going to track everything. It's so easy for me because all my foods are in MyFitnessPal. It really works wonderful. And it's such an eye-opener. And it has a barcode on it. You can look at the barcodes of foods, click it. It's going to tell you exactly how many calories. It's really wonderful, and it's free, which is great. Okay, Gene. My weight has started to creep back up from the summer beers. I know that's with me last week on vacation. and barbecue 257 pounds now, and I still have 3 weeks to go before. Gene, don't even worry about it. I'm really confident you're gonna have I think you're gonna reach all your goal weights this winter or this next season. I mean, I think you owe 250, so maybe 7 pounds. Like again, a lot of it's probably water weight. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself. And it's funny. I did a live stream when I was away on TikTok. And, my son turned me on. I guess college kids knows, and he's a runner. They always, they know all the cool beers and stuff they drink. And I started drinking on the trip these Corona Premium. I don't know if you're drinking like normal beers, Gene, or maybe you're drinking light beers. These Corona Premiums are incredible. Only 90 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. And if you squeeze a lime into it, like limes, clear glucose help blunt, their sugar response. I think it's a great drink. If you're gonna have a couple of beers in the summertime, to go with that a Corona Premium, which is even less carbs than a light beer. 90 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs, with the lime squeezed in to help control the blood sugar response. I think it's a great drink. Maybe just switch over to some light beers for the rest of the summer. Enjoy yourself till Labor Day, and then we'll get you going again. You're gonna be really motivated too, Gene. I'm really happy with how you're doing. Okay, because let's see what you see. I have naturally very high testosterone levels, which is great, and it's crazy because even before I started lifting, my muscles were amazing. See, some people which is great, naturally high testosterone, can put on muscle easily. Even my voice is apparently very deep, which is a sign of it. Well, interesting. A lot of people just have good levels of testosterone. Okay, which I do love some of my I hate my body doesn't take face fat first. Okay, so it takes from the legs and stomach first, which is great. I would like to. I know it's okay. What Juicy's saying is that, first of all, he's saying that he's gifted with testosterone. He puts on muscle easily, but when he loses weight, he feels like it's not coming off his face, and unfortunately, that's just how it is. But I do find that quicker weight loss, like when you do something aggressive, that can be even more extreme. Just there's no science behind it. I just find that it takes once you're even at the same weight for extended periods of time, I find like if your face is, I think your face might thin out a little bit. It's just how it is. Maybe you'll lose water in the face. This is not scientific. This is just my own personal experience. I find that when people lose weight quickly, it could be either way. Either they get drawn looking, or it just doesn't come off as evenly as if you just maintain an optimal weight for extended periods of time. But that's just my own. There's no science behind that. Just my own, just like experience talking to people and working with people over the years. I've seen zero carb beer. Whoa, zero carb beer. I've never tried that. That's interesting. I'm curious to know what brand that is. But I think those Coronas do taste great. Okay, so we got the protein formula, right? No, I don't know if I finished this whole slide. Okay, right? So we got the formula. You can use your goal weight, if you really need to lose a lot of weight. But this is the real key. That's why I'm glad I came back to this slide. This is the real key. Whenever you're creating a calorie deficit, this is so important. You never want to reduce the amount of protein. You always have to prioritize protein. That's the key. It's like the two most important things to track when it comes to weight loss and when it comes to eating with your intermittent fasting and time-restricted eating is to keep an eye on calories, number one, and number two, make sure you're eating an adequate amount of protein. I lean much more toward that low-carb, whole natural food diet, but you really can go either way as long as you're eating enough protein, right? And you're not eating too many calories, you can be any weight you want to be, pretty much. I mean that's my opinion for sure. So when it comes to creating a calorie deficit, don't cut back on the protein. Make sure you're still eating that 0.9 grams or 0.0 grams per pound of body weight. Make sure you're always not eliminating calories from your protein. That's so key and so important. Reduce carbohydrates, that would be my first choice. And also, you can also reduce fat. See, since I eat that low-carb, whole natural food diet, I'm pretty much controlling my body fat levels by how many carbohydrates I eat. When I want to lose weight, when I want to reduce body fat, I cut back even tighter on the carbs. I may cut back a little bit of fat, but generally not too much, because like I say, even though I'm eating a relatively higher fat diet, because I'm eating avocados and whole eggs and salmon and sardines, and just red meat and things like that, I don't necessarily add fat to my diet besides like extra virgin olive oil. I'm not putting mayonnaise. I'm not putting butter on my steaks and, to try to go into a high-fat diet. But when I calculate my macros, maybe 50% of my calories, maybe even more, is coming from fat from the whole natural foods I'm eating. So when you want to reduce calories, either cut back on fat or cut back on carbs, but keep protein at that good adequate level. Let's see what we got. Okay, this is Jeff. My body drops fat from my hips and butt first, and belly after. I know that's pretty much me too. I think, Jeff. I'm pretty much the same way. I mean, and that's pretty typical for men. And unfortunately too, if you were like really overweight at any one time, you might have a little bit of visceral fat. Visceral fat is that organ fat, that deep abdominal fat, and that's kind of like in the midsection. And unfortunately, it could be one of the last things to go. But then you want to just make sure you're cutting back on the fructose, and I would definitely go more lower carb. I think you are anyway. I would definitely go more low carb. I think that controls the visceral fat, and the fasting is great for the visceral fat too. And there's all different types of fat in the body, like we talked about before. There's the, the white fat is just like that jiggly fat. Then there's the brown fat, which is the good fat, right? That's the fat that increases your metabolism. There's a thermic effect to it. That's why people take cold showers, and even working out helps with brown fat. And then unfortunately, the worst fat in your body is that visceral fat, that deep organ fat, which is linked to metabolic syndrome. It's linked to a lot of unhealthy things. So you really want to reduce that. Okay, let's see. Hey, Sir Smokey Ellie, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but thanks for showing up. For me, if I eat large portions, it will make me hungry, and I'll eat more large portions later in the day, leading to weight gain into obesity territory. Yeah, I know, me too. It's interesting because I'm sure what's happening is a typical thing. You're probably getting that big spike in insulin, your blood sugar's raising, and those large portions, then the insulin lowers your blood sugar, you get hungry again later, plus you're expanding your stomach, and you just psychologically and trigger foods, and it creates a vicious cycle. Those large meals too. That's why for some people, even like an OMAD diet, a 1 meal a day diet, or even maybe Jeff, I know it's working for him. Some people maybe alternate day fasting wouldn't work because you don't want to eat those big meals. Those big meals create triggers, and it just doesn't work for you. Okay, I've been doing 18-6 since February. That's my favorite probably. 400 calories per meal limit. Okay. At first, I was eating 5 meals, but I'm down to only 3 meals at 1,200 calories per day because I'm still 6'4" man, no longer obese. That's fantastic. I love it. I think it's great. And, with a 6-hour eating window, 5 meals, I think, like I was saying, I think the only reason I'm not crazy about the 5 meals is that you just even though it's only a 6-hour eating window, you just constantly, to always constantly eat. I think psychologically it's not a great thing. I much prefer your 3 meals, 1,200 calories. But I'm not sure if you're 6'4", you're probably a pretty big guy. I wouldn't only do 1,200 calories. You're going to see when it comes to the calorie cycling, I would definitely do some cycling. I would definitely eat more some days. I'm not sure what your weight is now, but I don't want to mess you up. It sounds like you're doing really well, and it sounds like you're really strict with the 400 calories. But 1,200 calories for a guy 6'4", if you stay that low for an extended period of time, we're going to be talking about this metabolic adaptation. Plus, it's going to be hard to take in enough protein, vitamins, minerals, nutrients, potassium, magnesium long term. Like you can do it for a month or two and then take a break, go to maintenance, but be a little careful with only 1,200 calories in my opinion. But I don't want to mess you up. Sounds like you're doing wonderful. Okay, let's Gene. Okay, okay, Gene tried the Quest bars. They're very good. Lots of protein and fiber. A little pricey, however. I know. Look, they go on sale though. And they're pretty much, it's such a mainstream bar. They were like kind of hard to find 3-4 years ago. I see them everywhere. I'm not sure if they're in Costco because I don't really go to Costco, but they're in Rite Aid near me, right near my gym, like 2 for $5 all the time. I know that's still not cheap, but I think they're great. I mean, sometimes when I talk about the Quest bars, I'll talk about them on I'll do one video like what I ate when I broke my fast, and I'll say I want to increase my protein with a Quest bar. Some people really get on my case. Say, Mike, I loved everything you said, but why are you recommending a bar with all processed, with all junk in it? There's not, in my opinion, I think it's still a good bar. You get 14, 15, 16 grams of fiber, 21 grams of protein. It's a whey protein isolate, so it's a dairy type thing. Yes, there's some sugar alcohols in it. And yes, there's a couple of artificial-ish type things, but I think they're great. Yeah, I think it's totally good. And I also think, and like those no-cal bars, I love those too. If you're a vegan or vegetarian, same concept, low net carb, 15, 16 grams of fiber, 21 grams of protein. I love the no-cal bar as well too. Lately, I've been eating more of those. That's why I brought it away with me on vacation over the Quest bars. My wife eats a Quest bar every day. You know, she loves it. Okay. So this is Jeff. So on modified fast days during alternate day fasting, do you recommend having almost entirely lean meat in order to still get the protein even with big calories? Yeah, no, I think that's a good. I think that is a good thing to do. Exactly. That's a good way to look at it, because you do want to keep your calories down, but you want to make sure you're getting adequate amounts of protein. See, me personally, I was never like a high fat meat eater. First of all, I don't like the taste of the fat. Like, I'm not a guy that's gonna get brisket or pastrami or corned beef or even fatty cuts of meat. I know people do, like if you're doing a carnivore diet, it's different. When you're eating almost no carbs, you're doing like a ketogenic type diet, it's a little different. Like, I never was one, even though I love bacon, I'll very rarely have it. I think you're right on though, Jeff. That's exactly what I would do. Just go with the leaner cuts of meat, just to keep your calories down and make sure you're getting adequate amounts of protein. And there's nothing wrong too of throwing in a protein shake here or there, right? Or doing like a Quest bar or no-cal bar, something like that too, to make sure you're getting adequate protein for sure. Hey, JC, thanks for showing up. Cool. JZJ from the 𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂 Verdi. What's up, Michael? Oh, thanks for showing up. I really appreciate it. This is great. Thank you. Cool. Okay. This is Sir Smokey Elite. I hope I'm saying that right. I have trouble with this. One day I gotta get my daughter or son to help me with this live stream. They can read all the comments, because I have a hard time sometimes reading and doing this at the same time. You're right. I've been getting too hungry at night and in the morning. It's only been the past 3 weeks at 1,200 calories. And I'm about to cycle to 14, 16. Super smart idea. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is great. So Sir Smoke was doing really well, doing an 18-6. First he was doing 5 meals, then 3 meals. Now he's in like a pretty aggressive calorie deficit, 1,200 calories a day. Doing great, but he almost instinctively, he feels like he's getting too hungry. He needs more calories, so he's going to cycle up. And when you cycle up, you actually give your metabolism a little bit boost, because there's the thermic effect of food. That's all the stuff we're going to talk about next. Okay, so he went from, 325 pounds in February to 243 pounds in July. Wow. I'm sure I'm way even less now. Go weigh 175. Oh, he's just killing it. Oh, this is so exciting to hear about this. That's amazing. Nice job. I'm really happy for you. Fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about like what calorie cycling is, even though I talked about it a little bit of why it's so important. First of all, like I said, calorie cycling just means you're eating more sometimes, eating less others, but it doesn't necessarily have to mean every day. Like, it can be every week or every month. Like 1 month, you can do like Sir Smoke. You can be in an aggressive calorie deficit, say for 4 weeks, and then you can go maybe to maintenance calories for 2 weeks, and then you can go to like a mild calorie deficit. You know what I'm saying? So maybe at the end of 2 months or at the end of 8 to 10 weeks, you've been in a really good calorie deficit, yet sometimes you're eating more, sometimes you're eating less. And that, in my opinion, is the key to long-term weight loss. That's what all the physique athletes always did, the bodybuilders, the fitness models, and all these people even these young guys and gals you see who look incredible online, they're always cycling the calories. There's very few people, who just are always in a calorie deficit. You're gonna run into trouble. Okay, so unfortunately, when you do restrict calories, your body guards again. You go into that somewhat starvation mode. It's called metabolic adaptation. When you're smaller, when you're a smaller person, it's almost just like a way of survival. You don't need as many calories. You're just smaller, but you can over-exaggerate that metabolic adaptation from restricting calories too aggressively for too long. And I always talk about The Biggest Loser. That crazy TV show. They did studies on the people, the participants, The Biggest Loser, and they messed up their metabolism so much for so aggressively restricting calories and over-exercising. And that like 10 years later, I may be exaggerating a little bit. I had this study the last time I talked about calorie cycling, so it's not totally fresh in my head. But they looked at the participants literally like 5-10 years later, and their metabolism was still messed up by so aggressively restricting calories. And also messes up the hormones, the hunger hormones, ghrelin, leptin. Ghrelin, these are the hormones that tell you to stop eating, right? That's why, like, for example, when you put on body fat, that white adipose tissue, that's what releases leptin that tells the brain, stop eating, you're putting on too much body fat. That's why people become leptin resistant, just like they become insulin resistant. So there's so many negative hormonal things can happen too when you're over exaggerating the calorie restriction. I even made another slide up about it, but let's see, we got some other questions here first. Okay, let's see what Gene's got about the Quest bars. Okay, Gene, the Quest bars contain 20 grams of carbs, 12 grams of fiber. Does that mean the real amount of carbs is, yes, only 8? It's even less than that. Okay, they'll say in the, it's interesting because because I'm so on top of these Quest bars, they used to have more fiber in them. Some flavors will have more. They used to have more, like 14 to like 16 grams of fiber depending upon the flavor, and they even just have a little bit more protein. So I don't know if they recently changed the formula. Who knows? Maybe they just hired a lab. Sometimes it's hard to trust what exactly is in any of these supplements. Maybe they just had it like reevaluated and this what it was. They also subtract the sugar alcohols if you look on the back of the bar. So if you look at a Quest bar, I wish I had one right here. I know I have a whole bunch upstairs. They generally go with 4 net grams of carbs. So I'm going to assume that instead of just 8 grams, they're probably putting 4 grams of a sugar alcohol, which is like an artificial type sweetener, type thing. So the net grams are even less, Gene. But I have to say, years ago when I was like fooling around with those blood monitors, like when I was going into ketosis now and then, I found that even though there's only like 4 net grams of carbs, if I ate a Quest bar, popped me right out of ketosis. It could be because of the whey protein. It may just be the protein that pops me out, not necessarily the carbohydrates. But keep that in mind. But still, 12 grams of fiber is great, right? You want to get 25, 30, 35 grams of fiber a day. You can almost get half your amount of fiber with a Quest bar. That's why when I went on vacation, I ate 1 no-carb bar every day. Besides, they're just fun to eat, and I'm getting a little protein. I wanted, like, I think the one that I had 16, 17 grams of fiber, which is like the fudge brownie. I know I wasn't eating as much vegetables as I typically would when I'm home, so I wanted to make sure I get half my fiber in that 1 bar. It's almost like taking a fiber supplement, which is great. Hey, Ellen, thanks for showing up. Very informative. Oh, my God. Lawrence, hey, how you doing? I knew Alyssa was here. Thanks for showing up. This is great. Oh, so you're watching from FaceTime. Yeah, I broadcast. I use this software called Restream. So I think I'm on right now. I'm on FaceTime. I think I'm on Twitter. And I'm on YouTube. So that's cool. Thanks for showing up. That's great. Okay, so Sir Smoke. Okay, my 400-calorie meals are mostly fat, some protein, a little no carbs, no sugar. I like the small portions so much I'm going to stick with them forever. I feel so much better. That sounds good. Hey, you got to find what works for you. I think that's great. And especially since you're eating mostly like fat and some protein, even though you may be having a bunch of small meals, you're not getting that like tremendous like blood sugar spike, because you're doing almost like maybe like a modified ketogenic-ish diet where you're getting a little bit more protein maybe than a traditional ketogenic diet, but you're getting most of your calories from fat. But it sounds great to me. I mean, you've done so incredibly well, which is great. But let's talk about here, like this next slide, like what happens if you over-aggressively restrict calories. First of all, you're going to over-exaggerate. Like I said, that metabolic adaptation. That means that normal slowdown that's going to happen when you lose weight could be really exaggerated. So it's going to mess up your metabolism. But I have to say, there's no like carved out rule saying that if you're say you're aggressively restricting calories. I can't tell you that if you did it for like 3 weeks, you did it for 8 weeks. You have to experiment. I generally find, just from my own experience, I don't like to go more than like 4 to 6 weeks. Like aggressively restricting calories. I think that's when I find most people run into trouble. You can go a month, maybe a couple more weeks, but you start going beyond that 6 weeks. I personally don't even go that far, but you start going beyond that 6 weeks, and I think things, can turn against you a little bit. And these are some, and I looked at some studies. These are some of the things that happen. You get this decreases in testosterone, thyroid hormone, leptin. Plus, you don't have the energy to work out, I find, and be active when you're aggressively restricting calories beyond, for extended period of time. You start going a couple of months, and just some negative things start happening. You get to more into starvation mode, and ghrelin, the hunger hormone, all the things, you start getting hungry, right? You have to listen to your body. Your body will tell you what's going on. I know you want to lose the weight and you want to do it as quickly as possible. but you'll have better long-term results if you cycle. Just keep that in mind. So incredibly important. Okay. So for Jeff, today is a feast day, but I'm trying just having coffee with ghee. Well, coffee with ghee, it sounds cool. Yeah. In the morning, so I won't have my first meal till later. So calories for the day should end up less. Sounds great. I love it. I mean, that's exactly all the stuff that I'm doing. Right? Today is my OMAD day, like I talk about. But I'm probably going to do a protein bar with my OMAD meal. Like I'm going to take after this presentation, I go take my 90 to 2 hour walk along the Hudson River. Beautiful day in New York today too. It's interesting. Got a little bit of cold at 92 a couple of days ago in New York, which almost showing. I hate when that happens. It's like the summer's coming to an end. You get one of those nights when it's like 60, 57 degrees. We had that a couple of days ago and it's been so hot. So I'm probably going to do a protein bar. Maybe probably a no-cal bar. I got a bunch upstairs when I get back from my walk, and then I have my one big OMAD day. But I think it's a great approach. You know, like we say, Jeff, right? Calories count. Any way you can do it to minimize, I think it's a great thing to do. It's funny, on special occasions, I try to eat a big meal, but I'm unable to because I'm so used to small meals. That happens. Yeah, your stomach kind of shrinks. I know that's not really scientific, but I think it definitely there's something to it. You're used to eating those small meals, so that's a real good thing, right? It's a good thing. Which is good. Oh, JC, hey, super sticker. Thanks, JC. Let me pull you in here. Thanks, JC. I really appreciate it. Unicorn with rainbow hair. Thanks a lot. I think Debbie one time gave me a super sticker too. They're kind of cool. It's kind of like pretty even to look at. So I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. That's great. Okay, let's go over. Okay, this is kind of like a review of what I talked about, but let's really like get this sunk in on how to calorie cycle. Okay, going in and out of a calorie deficit. Intermittently or every week. Like I said, you can do this calorie deficit thing with the cycling either day to day, like one day be in a calorie deficit, say 10 times your body weight, the next day maintenance, or you can do it week to week, or you can do it month to month, any way that works best in your schedule. But by the end of, let's say, a quarter, or by the end of 10 weeks, if you want to be thinner, you got to be in a calorie deficit. Just keep it in mind. So 10, 11 times your body weight. If you want to lose a lot of weight, you can go with your goal weight. So keep that in mind, right? Like I talked about, I don't want to keep on repeating myself, but you know what I mean, I think. Maintenance calories is either 5 to 750 over deficit, or you can just multiply your body weight by 15. That's another great way to do it. Or if you want to be even more specific, you can use one of those online calculators where you have to answer a bunch of questions, your age, your weight, your activity level, if you want to be even more specific. Okay, like the key takeaways is always eat an adequate amount of protein. And you know my formula there, right? 0.9 grams per pound of body weight, or 0.7 times body weight. And never reduce the amount of protein you're eating. Always keep the protein at adequate levels. Reduce calories with carbs or fat. That's the whole cycle. That's the secret. That's the formula. I've never seen it not work if you do it. The only thing that can get into a little bit of an issue is if you've been overweight, really overweight for decades, like say you've been overweight for 20 years, and you're truly insulin resistant, meaning that your cells are not responding to insulin, your metabolism is all messed up, maybe you got metabolic syndrome, this and that. It takes time. It could take weeks, months. It can take a long time to reverse that. So it could be discouraging. But the only thing you can do, right? What can you do? The only thing you can do is exercise, right? Do some resistance training to maintain muscle mass. Do some cardio work just to have a strong heart, to burn a little bit of body fat. And then restrict calories, right? Cycle your calories. You got to use the same formula, even if you're insulin resistant and even if it's not working as quickly for you. Eventually, it's going to work. I've never seen it not work long term. It may take you months, could take you 6 months to do it, because people contact me all the time saying, Mike, I'm doing this. I'm just not losing nothing. I'm not losing any weight. Then my first question to them is like, how long have you been overweight? Generally, they've been overweight for 10, 20 years, struggling their whole lives with it. Maybe they're pre-diabetic, maybe they have diabetes, they have issues going on. Then I would still say use the same formula. It's just going to take longer for it to kick in, but eventually will kick in. And I even did a couple of videos saying that maybe you may want to do something even more aggressive. Like then you may want to try like a 48-hour fast, a 72-hour fast, just to kind of reset your metabolism and really try to reverse that insulin resistance, you know. But I would talk to your doctor about it too. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Jeff says, "Hey, high is supposed to be only 98 today before we go back in the hundreds." Whoa. And you're Texas, right, Jeff? Man, Texas. I've never been to Texas. I'm dying to go to Texas. I gotta go, right? All my exes are in Texas. Who's that? George Strait. That's a great song. I like George Strait a lot. Actually, it's pretty funny. That was a great song. But he's funny because we listen to a lot of country music on the way to the Hamptons. It's like a 2.5 hour ride for us. So I put on a lot of I like country music, you know, for sure. That's funny. Okay, let's see what you see. I was 214s in December, 166. Oh man, you are killing it. Fantastic. And you're saying you're maintaining your muscle mass with your testosterone, your workout. You're doing incredibly well. I'm really happy for you. Fantastic. Fullback RB. Hey Mike. Oh, thanks for showing up, Fullback. This is cool. I lost my first 10 pounds by using 16-8 method that your videos got me to know a while ago. Whoa, fantastic. I love to hear this stuff. Thank you for that. Greetings from Germany. Whoa, awesome. We got Germany in the house too. Everybody else, fantastic. I'm so happy for you. 10 pounds, 16-8. Fantastic. I really appreciate you showing up. I like your emojis too. Cool. It's a Gene's guy. Okay, Gene. Again about the Quest bars. I really consider taking one each day as a meal when I start my very low calorie diet again next month. I think that's a great idea. Nothing wrong with it, Gene. I actually like it. I think it's great. And just another tip about the Quest bars. And I got this from Dr. Stephen Gundry. I know I bring him up from time to time. He was the guy. I forget the name of his book. Well, what was the name of all those books? I read like 3 of them. They're not popping into my head. He's the guy with the lectins. You know, like he believes in more of an adequate amount of protein, relatively low carb, lectin-free diet. Lectins are those like those proteins that kind of attack the body. They're in plants, and he's not into nightshades. He's not into eating tomatoes or eggplants, or I can't believe I can't think of his book. It'll come to me before this is over. But he talked about the Quest bars and how he recommends them to all his patients, and they really love them. But he recommends specific flavors. See, I'm a big chocolate guy, so I always buy like the chocolate fudge brownie. But Gene, look at the back of the Quest bar. Some of the flavors, the ingredient list is going to be twice as big as some of the other ones. So pick the flavors with less junk in them, with less of with the small ingredient list. I know the chocolate ones that I get are that's the one my wife likes. I think my kids have tried like the birthday cake one, which is not my flavor, but the ingredient list is much bigger. So try to pick the flavors. I'll look it up and let you know too, because there's a couple of other ones my wife gets, and she knows we always go with the smaller ingredient list. But also, I don't know if you found the no cow bars too chalky. Check them out too, Gene, though. I think they're very, very similar, but it's a plant-based bar instead of a no Quest bar. I don't think they taste as good, but I love them. I think they taste, I like them. I think they're great. Okay, Sir Smoky alert. Let's see what we got. Okay, we got, yeah, I'm overweight for multiple decades, no alcohol, fatty liver. That's good. The whole deal. Unfortunately, they had non-alcoholic fatty liver. So if people don't know what that is, that means that your liver can only process so many carbs, so much fructose at one time. So some people would get fatty liver. You get like fat deposits in your liver from drinking too much alcohol. You can also get it from, unfortunately, just eating too many calories, eating too many carbs. Specifically, like fructose goes right to the liver to be processed, can give you fatty liver disease. The whole deal. I found strength training, push-ups while playing games helps set me up for success, and cardio. Sounds great. No, I mean, you're just doing so incredibly well. I'm sure you're going to reverse that fatty liver. I think you definitely will. You may have already, right? Cool. Juicy. Okay. I also did a huge amount of cardio and increasing the intensity by adding 10 seconds. So I go 7 miles per hour. So you're doing some, yeah, this is cool. So you're doing some nice interval work for your cardio, which I love. Okay. I was quite clueless back in January. And thought that you need to kill yourself. No, you don't have to. I'm definitely, that's my whole thing. It's interesting because I talk mostly about diet. Not mostly, maybe 70% about diet over exercise, because I find exercise prescription can be so simple, yet people make it so complex. You don't have to kill yourself. I'm a minimalist. The general rule is hard workouts should be really short. Long workouts could be easy. That's why I think the singular best exercise you can do, no question about it, is just walking every day. You take like a 30-minute walk in the morning, a 30-minute walk at night. You know, in the U.S., people don't walk like in other countries. I know in Germany, the U.K., I mean, or unless you live in the city, that's why people in the city are more healthy than people who live in the suburbs in the United States. That's definitely in the New York area because you're walking all the time in the city. If you can walk 30 minutes 3 times a day, incredible for you. At a relatively like base building, low heart rate, easy, comfortable, good for your mind, good for your brain, good for your mental health. There's nothing better than just being active, daily walking, right? And then doing some type of resistance training. And just like what Juicy's talking about, you don't have to kill yourself. Doing some body weight squats, some lunges, maybe getting some just dumbbells. You do some body weight squats holding some dumbbells, right? You do your push-ups. You get those resistance bands. You do some seated rows. I mean, just you spend 15, 20 minutes 2-3 times a week along with daily walking and maybe a little bit of HIIT cardio. Just a little bit. You know, where you're walking and maybe go into like a little bit of a jog and spike your heart rate for a minute, then go start walking again. Do that 2-3 times. That's the key. You don't have to like I'm so banged up with my joint. First of all, from surfing and riding like dirt bikes and sports, that's where most of my injuries come from. But I overtrained for 20 years. All in my 20s and 30s and late teens, I was in the gym for 2 hours a day pumping iron, and I'm paying for it now. Like right now, I got tendonitis in both my elbows because I pushed it too hard a few months ago, and I did like a hard cycle. I'm still paying for it now. You know, I'm a minimalist when it comes to exercise. You have to control your weight with your diet like 100%. And then you work out to maintain muscle mass and to create the response you want. You do that cardio for mental health, to have a good, strong heart. You do some resistance training to maintain muscle mass and put on muscle. You don't have to kill yourself. Obviously, if you want to be a bodybuilder or physique athlete, you got to do the extreme things. But for the average population, you can be healthier, more muscular, more mobile, more fit than like 99% of the population without killing yourself in the gym. Definitely not. Okay. Fall tennis season starts in September. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So this is Jeff in Texas. Okay. Fall tennis season starts in September. So I'm in the off season now. I need to get a regular dumbbell lifting routine going again. I have been too lazy on that. I know, but maybe you just needed a break, Jeff. I know you're a real serious tennis player. You play all the time, and that's pretty. Tennis is one of those sports you just get everything. It's like doing resistance training. It's like doing intervals. It's like doing base building. Just think, you're running, you're spiking, you're lunging down for a shot. You know, your body may have just needed a little bit of a break, so don't feel bad about it. You know, but it's good to do a little resistance training. Get some dumbbells. I love those like Bowflex dial-up dumbbells. Like if you want to get a home gym, I love those dial-up dumbbells. They go from like 2.5 pounds to 52 pounds. You get yourself an adjustable bench. You buy some of those resistance bands. That's all you need for your entire life. And you can do anything with that. I mean, I love it. Okay. The UK is becoming like the US. Obesity is growing. I know. I've never been to the UK. Well, I've been to the Channel Islands. One time my wife had a business trip. I've never been to London, dying to go. I got to get there. I would love to go. And it's crazy because I had a pizza as a cheap meal, and I was checking calories. I know, hey, I'm like that too. I'm a little obsessive like that too. Okay. I think I missed my comment. Okay, which comment? I'm not sure what comment you meant, Juicy. I know we got a bunch here. I'll go back and try to get it. Like, oh, maybe the cardio one. Let's see if you mean this. Maybe did I miss this one? So I did 2 to 3 hours of cardio 5 times a week. No resistance training, just crazy cardio. Despite going through that, it helps me get my gas tank like I won't run out of. No, I agree. But definitely, I know you're doing some resistance training too. It's really important too. Even if you're just like you're saying push-ups and like lunges, that's all you got to do. See, Carol Jean, my family hiked up our mountain. That was a high. My family hiked up our mountain. That was our high school letters on the mountain. It was hard but rewarding. It was steep. Whoa, pretty cool. Yeah, I love hiking. Unfortunately, that's one of the things. Actually, I'm seeing a new knee doctor. I decided I'm going to see somebody else. I'm supposed to go next week, but I don't think I can do it next week. I'm going to delay it maybe till after my birthday, or maybe a couple of weeks. But that's something I cannot do, which is so crazy. I can hike up, but my knee can't tolerate like a steep decline, uneven surfaces. You know, when you're walking downhill, like, you can't engage your glutes and your butt. You get like your knee is always like beyond your toe, which that could be good too. I'm still doing my backwards walking, which is definitely helping to some degree with that. But I love hiking. I'm jealous. I mean, it sounds incredible what you were doing. Okay, so Gene, okay, with 10 minutes on the stationary bike containing 2 30-second hit workout cardio, I think close to it. I probably would do more than 2 on a 10-minute bike. See if you can do 4, maybe 5 30-second intervals. When you think about it, it's still not much. You're only talking about 2.5 minutes of like that high intensity work within a 10-minute stationary bike. I probably would do a little bit more than 2 30 seconds. But I also don't think you have to go 100% max. I think even if you're going 85-90% effort, I think you're going to get like 90% of the benefit. I know some people they want to go like until they're ready to drop for 30 seconds. I think you can go 85-90% effort and get just about all the benefit from it. I don't think you have to kill yourself. Just keep that in mind. What are your tips for a six-pack? Just getting low body fat levels. That's the key, I would say there. Yep, I've got a Bowflex adjustable dumbbells. Oh, that's great. I love those. They have been very useful over the years. I got them about 12 years ago. Well worth the investment. Yeah, I love it. I love the Bowflex machine too, which is great too. I think the dumbbells are awesome. You just can't drop them, right? You drop them once, they're going to break, which is really annoying. But that's like if I go to a client's home, like I still go to people's homes and train them in their homes from time to time. If they have no equipment, that's the main thing I'm going to tell them to get those Bowflex adjustable dumbbells, maybe adjustable bench. I like the Bowflex bench too. It goes from incline to decline to flat. And you need those resistance bands for like a high and a low pulley. And that's all you really need. Okay, 𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. I wore my knee brace and ankle sleeves. Yeah, well, that's good. But I'm sure you enjoyed it. And I'd probably do the same thing if I wanted to try to hike. Okay, hey, Minute, pretty cool. How you doing? I've also struggled with obesity, and honestly, I lost hope that one day I'll achieve losing weight. I want to keep it off. Or some people are not meant to be slim. There's no question about it. I feel bad for you, but obviously you're here. I don't want you to give up, right? That's the first thing. No question about it. Some people will always have a harder time than others, even genetically. And it's really researched and it's documented. Obesity definitely runs in families. And they're not necessarily because they're not as disciplined or whatever reason it might be. They were just genotypes, there's genes, there's snippets, there are markers. It's just harder for some people. It just is like that. And it doesn't mean I think just about anyone can get to a reasonable weight. No question about it. I don't know how overweight you are, and I don't know all the different things you've tried. But I think if you're following like these formulas and you watch some of my videos and you go in and out of a calorie deficit, I love the low-carb, whole natural food diet. And you cycle your calories. Maybe you go with a simple 16-day. Like, my favorite strategy, and I talk about it all the time, is 18-6. You can even do 16-day, meaning you fast for 16 to 18 hours a day. You eat 2 meals a day with a protein shake or a protein bar. And you're following everything I'm talking about, and you cycle in and out of calories. I think you're going to do well. It may be harder for you than the person next to you or some of your friends, and we all have our friends who can eat anything, and they always looked great. And me, I'm not like that. If I start eating anything, I gain weight in a second. I really do. I really work at all this stuff. It hasn't come easy to me. I'm a little obsessive compulsive, so I maybe take it too far. Like I said, I overtrained for 20 years. And but it can work for you. You gotta there's nothing else you can do, right? Except eat well, cycle your calories, eat an adequate amount of protein, and do some type of exercise. And you got to do a little resistance training. And I would start walking every day. I think you can do it. Okay, James. Hey, James, how we doing? That's what I do. He walks 100 to 2. Okay, James walks 100 to 200 push-ups 5 days a week. Well, awesome. And light 15-pound dumbbell curls. Eat high protein, whole food. That's it. James just summed it up in like one sentence. Incredible formula to follow. I absolutely love it, James. I think it's great. Okay. Weight, is that it? Amazing. I've seen these 6-pack workouts on TikTok. Yeah, you can do them. I think they're fun to do. But don't think that training your midsection, like I'm saying, is going to really reduce the body fat. But it's different. I forget what gal brought that up. Like if you've had, baby, I think Melissa was saying that she's had 3 pregnancies, and maybe your abdominal muscles get a little extended, and you can do things to kind of pull in a little bit, but there's no correlation between fat tissue and muscle tissue. It's not like you're going to turn fat into muscle or muscle to fat. You just want to lower your body fat and you see your abs. I mean, if you want to do more of like a pump type training routine for your midsection, like instead of doing planks and non-movement exercise, of which you're going to strengthen the core, if you want to do like crunches that just pump up your stomach and make your abdominal muscles bigger, and you're also very lean, you can have a little bit more of a six-pack. But most people, unfortunately, still look at abdominal exercises like that they're burning body fat off your stomach, and you're really not. If you're incredibly weak in your midsection, maybe training your abdominals is going to pull it in and tighten it up a little bit. And like doing those vacuums can kind of help. But there's really no correlation, in general. Well, when you finally make it to Texas, you can train me in the hall. That sounds good, Jeff. I would love it. I would agree. That would be awesome. All my family have had most of their fat stored in their thighs. Yeah, I know. It's a family trait. Come to think of it, I ate a lot during lockdown, so I definitely know where the weight came from. Yeah, I know. This pandemic's been rough, that's for sure. Okay, so we got this. Let's go to the next one. Like I even forget what the slide's about. Calorie counting options. Okay. Yeah, this is another point I wanted to make. And this is like incorporating the calorie cycling with your intermittent fasting strategy, because I do have so many people just do not have the patience to count calories, or they just want no part of it, or maybe they counted calories years ago and it just didn't work. So you can do everything I'm talking about without using MyFitnessPal, without looking up everything, just from using like the right type of intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating strategies, by constantly changing how big or how long your eating window is. It's similar to so Smoke talked about, the amount of meals. Like, for example, you can do, and I talk about this all the time, even my intermittent fasting course that I have that I sell for like $97, this is the strategy I use, because when I created that course, I didn't do it for people necessarily to count calories. I said, let me show you how to restrict calories through intermittent fasting by just constantly changing your eating window. So for example, on the days when you have a bigger eating window, you're going to be eating more. So let's say you're doing a 16-8 one day, or even 1 week, where you're fasting for 16 hours, taking in all your calories. Let's say you're eating 3 meals with an 8-hour eating window. Let's say that's a formula that's going to give you a maintenance calories, right? But then the next day, or maybe the next week, if you're doing it every single day, you're doing time-restricted eating, you're going to do a 20-hour fast with a 4-hour eating window, and you're only going to be eating, say, 1.5 meals. You're doing like a modified OMAD like I'm doing today. Maybe you're going to do a protein bar or protein shake, and then you're only going to eat 1 meal for the day. That puts you in like a pretty aggressive calorie deficit. And then maybe the next day or the next week, you're doing 18-6, 2MAD, right? So you're eating 2 meals a day with a 6-hour eating window. Pretty good calorie deficit, but not as aggressive as a 24. And then maybe day 4, or maybe you've been doing, OMAD for a couple of weeks. You say, you know what? I'm just taking a little bit of a break. I'm going to eat my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, maybe even more. I'm going to go to maintenance calories. So you can do the same things I'm talking about without necessarily counting calories, but just keep on mixing it up with your fasting strategy. I think that's a great thing to do, and that's pretty much how I start most people. But if you want to just guarantee success, long-term success, it's good to count calories. Plus, it's just good to know, like when you look at a plate of food, kind of have an idea of how many calories are in that plate, right? It's so important for protein. Like I always say, every 4 ounces of chicken, fish, meat, poultry, animal protein is about 25 grams of protein. An egg, 6 grams, 7 grams of protein. A Greek yogurt, 15 grams of protein. It's kind of good to know, just to make sure you're taking in enough protein, how much protein you're eating a day, right? But you can take this whole concept of calorie restriction and cycling calories and just purely do it, I think, with intermittent fasting and time restricted eating, at least in the beginning, at least until you hit a plateau or something like that. And this is just such an easy way to start. Like what's this note I have here? 18-6 for 6. Okay, I'll give an example, right, of how you can do it. Say you're doing my favorite strategy, doing 18-6, fasting for 18 hours, taking all your calories within a 6-hour eating window, and you're doing my favorite formula, 2 meals a day, 2 MAD, with say a protein shake or a protein bar. That's going to put you in a pretty good calorie deficit. Say you do that for 6 weeks, then you just go maintenance for 2 weeks. You stop intermittent fasting, you go back to 3 meals a day. You know, I think it's a great way to do it. There's so many different ways of doing it, but the big takeaway from this presentation today is, right, you want to cycle your calories. You want to go from maintenance calories to deficit. You can do it daily, weekly, monthly. Doesn't make a difference as long as you're doing it like that, right? You always want to eat an adequate amount of protein, even on the days when you're in a deficit, right? And that's the key to the whole thing, right? When it comes to figuring out your calorie deficit, if you have a lot of weight to lose, you know, say over 40, over 50 pounds, you may want to go with your goal weight. But if you want to lose 10, 20, 30 pounds, I think you can just go with your body weight for calculating your numbers, right? So it's great. I mean, it really works. Okay, so let's see. Did I miss any here? Let's see. Let me see if I missed any. Okay, come to think of it, right? We got that. Definitely one of the worst things towards weight gain. Yeah, dominoes, that's for sure. Gene, okay. Do you mean 2 MAD each day plus the shakes and the bars as the third meal, or no? Either one, protein shake or bar, Gene. I love 2 MAD, like 2 meals a day, and then either a protein bar or a protein shake. Like for me, like say I want to eat 150 grams of protein for the day. That's generally the number I kind of like for myself. Say I'm having, if I had like say I have 8 ounces of fish for lunch, 8 ounces of fish for dinner. That's only about 100 grams or so. So maybe I want to do like a 25 gram protein bar, like a Quest bar, or no carb out, or a 25 gram protein shake. But I generally may go over 8 ounces. Maybe like lunch I have 8 ounces, which is 50 grams of protein. Maybe dinner I may go 10, 12 ounces. You know, get 75 grams of protein there. Then I want to just make sure I get the 150 around. So I may do a protein shake or a protein bar. So 2 MAD plus either one. That's kind of like my favorite. I think that's such a great long-term strategy. And you can even, I mean, I know it so well. I know you know so well, Gene, too. Since we know it, that's the other strategy, too, right, when it comes to calorie cycling. If you're counting calories, like say you just love 16-8, 2 MAD protein shake, I'm so good at doing it, and I'm sure you will over time, is that I can also cycle my calories without changing my favorite fasting strategy, because I just like it. Good for your circadian rhythm to eat the same time every day, and wake up the same time, go to sleep the same time, all those factors as well. That you can also cycle your calories just doing 16-8 or 18-6 every single day, but you just have to make a conscious effort to eat more sometimes, eat less other times. So you can also do that, which is totally okay. I know some people just love 16-8. They've been doing it for like 10 years, 5 years. And you can cycle your calories even in a 16-8 if you wanted to, right? Oh, Juicy, hey, thanks, Juicy. This is my first super chat from the UK. It's kind of cool. It comes in euros. That's great. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I appreciate you showing up every week and answering all your questions. You leave a lot of great comments, too, on the YouTube channel, which I really appreciate. Thanks a lot. That's great. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Counting calories is a piece of cake, in my opinion. I think the reason people fail is because they overeat their calories on weekends, or drench their salads with dressing. No, I totally agree. Like, calories count. I do find, like, generally, most likely when people hit the weightless plateaus, they're either going extreme 2 ways. Say they're doing like 16-8 and they did really well in the beginning, then all of a sudden they start hitting a weightless plateau. Either 2 things happen, I find. Either the calories start creeping up because you get so accustomed to doing 16-8. Like you say, you put more dressing on your salad and like things like that. Or you're too aggressively restricting calories for too long, and then your metabolism slowed down too much. And then you're just like malnourished. So you're just not getting enough vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. And then you create an issue that way. So it's either extreme. Getting calories right is so key. That's why it's good to have these general formulas. And then once you use like MyFitnessPal and you start tracking things, you can experiment so much better. It's right there. You can see what you're doing. So I totally agree with you. Oh, Dr. Gundry. Yeah, Dr. Gundry, right? No, that's the name of the book, The Plant Paradox. That's his first big book. But I read a few of his books. Right, The Plant Paradox. That's the book. Thanks, Melissa. That you just sparked me. Can make homemade protein bars. Might be. Yeah, no, I would love a homemade protein bars. I've never tried it. Would love it. I'm sure they're better. Less junk in there. Sounds great. I'm sure. You can even make, what I did make many years ago? I used to make those like protein brownies, things like that, like a low carb, like a protein brownie. It's too much work for me, but I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. Okay, Mike. Mike is awesome. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I do 30 minutes light cardio every day for years because of you. I'm sure that's a huge part of my success. I also appreciate the thoughts on circadian rhythm. Very important. Yeah, the circadian rhythm is really important too. That's the only negative when it comes to varying your fasting strategy, like day to day, is if you do eat that first meal at different times. It's more important the first meal for your circadian rhythm. So, for example, if you are going from a 16-8 or an 18 to like a 24 or even an OMAD, it's probably, I know it's hard to do socially and all that. It probably makes more sense to have your first meal like the same time every day. Like if you can have your first meal like 10 o'clock, like every single day, when it comes to your circadian rhythm, yes, it probably would be a better thing. But it's really hard for me. That's why I like some of those other hacks, like even drinking coffee, black coffee in the morning. There is caffeine in coffee, and caffeine is metabolized in the liver. So to some degree, even just drinking the black coffee is good for your circadian rhythm, in my opinion. It kind of jumpstarts, the whole process for the day. Definitely waking up the same time every day. And you can even do those other hacks like we talked about in the past, like the essential amino acids. You take an essential amino acid supplement, which is going to give you the protein with almost no calories. That's something you can do maybe 10 o'clock every day. If you like, for example, let's say you're doing 16-8. You typically eat 10, 11 o'clock every day. You break your fast, or maybe even 12, which is still kind of on the earlier side. And then you say, I'm going to cycle my calories. I'm going to go to like an OMAD diet, but I'm going to do my OMAD diet in the evening at I'm going to break my fast between 5 to 6, like a 5 to 7 every single day. There's nothing wrong. It may be a good thing to maybe do an essential amino acid supplement 10 o'clock in the morning when you normally would eat, just for your circadian rhythm. Plus, they get a little more protein too. So there are things that you can do. But the circadian rhythm is a big thing. And I talk about Dr. Panda, The Circadian Code, great book. Andrew Huberman at Huberman Labs, the professor from Stanford, love him. He talks about how the importance of it too. Like, he did a great podcast on intermittent fasting talking about circadian rhythm. And he thinks the best formula is probably taking calories a little bit earlier in the day. Like if you can break your meal like 10, 11 o'clock, then have dinner a little bit earlier and consistently do that, it's probably the best way of doing it. But all these, it's still going to help even if you just change that every single day. But if you can keep the circadian rhythm just in the back of your head, it probably would be a good thing. Let's see. Hey, whoa, super chat from Rose too. Boy, I'm killing it today with the super chats. This is my best super chat day. I really appreciate that from everyone. Thanks, Rose. I really appreciate it. That's great. Okay, so Carol Jean. I broke a 2-day fast last night. I felt amazing. It cleans you out, and inflammation is gone. Broke it with a huge cup of kettle and fire bone broth today. I'll eat 2 meals. That sounds great. I like that. So Carol Jean actually broke her fast today. So Carol Jean had a 2-day fast. Great, reduced inflammation. She felt really good from it. Kettle and fire is probably the best bone broth. I love it. High in collagen. I even take a collagen protein powder every now and then myself too. I know I talked about that in the past too. I think that's incredible. You're doing great. Fantastic. Hey, Juicy. Oh, is this another super chat? Oh my God, I really appreciate this. I just really appreciate you helping me. Okay, $4.49 super chat. That's €1 from the UK. I just really appreciate you helping me. I watched all your shorts and I love your content. Yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Oh, thanks, Juicy. I really appreciate it today. This is so nice of you. Awesome. I hope you guys are enjoying the shorts. Lately, I've been doing a lot of shorts lately. I kind of like the shorts. I don't want to get too monotonous though, because I've been really trying to break down exactly how I'm eating every day. Because so many people ask me that, Mac, exactly. So many people, just tell me what to eat. So like, tell me what meal to eat and I'll do it. I lean a little bit more towards the fish. You'll see I have some pictures coming up in the next slide too. I lean towards like a somewhat of a pescatarian-ish type diet where I'm eating salmon and smoked salmon and sardines and fish eggs and Arctic chard and flounder. Last night we had halibut. My wife made incredible halibut last night. She killed it. And she made it spicy. I absolutely loved it. So that's, some people say, Mike, I don't like fish. Then, you have to substitute other animal protein. Then I get a lot of vegans and vegetarians following me, which I have to start doing some more specific videos on how to eat in my style as a vegan or vegetarian. My brother's a vegetarian. One of my best buddies is a vegetarian. And the one thing I say right off the top is you really have to supplement your diet with pea or hemp seed protein powders. You do, or those no-cal bars, because it's hard to get, in my opinion, hard to take in enough protein as a vegan or vegetarian without having to eat too many calories. Once again, I always talk about what's that called again? The protein leverage hypothesis, which states that you're going to keep on eating until you're taking an adequate amount of protein. So if you're getting most of your protein from like rice and beans, even tofu, and even like just vegetables in general, unless you're a vegetarian or vegan who wants to eat low protein on purpose because you're afraid of mTOR and spiking mTOR and always bugging in growth phase, if you're a vegetarian for that reason, fine, and you may not want to do what I say. But if you want to maintain muscle mass, if you want the thermic effect of food, I think you really need to supplement your diet as a vegan, especially if you're a vegan who doesn't even eat eggs, with some hemp seed or some pea protein powder. I think it's really important. Okay, this is Sir Smoke. I had insomnia from 2010 to February this year. Whoa, you had it for a long time, huh? I cured it by eating early enough at the same times. Circadian rhythm is everything. No, I totally agree with that. I'm a big believer. Like, I've been doing this a lot and I love it. Sometimes I have a 6 o'clock in the morning client, so it doesn't apply. I'm trying to get away from that. I want to really just start 7 o'clock every single day now that I'm getting older. But I love taking a walk first thing in the morning. I have a cup of black coffee, maybe drink some water. Well, no sunglasses, absorbing the sunlight, that's circadian rhythm that jump starts. I like to wake up the same time every day. It's definitely affected. The more sunlight you absorb during the day, the better you're going to sleep at night. The more melatonin you'll have at night, right? You can't, and I also try to minimize the blue light at night. I blacked out my room, I had trouble sleeping when I was away this past week because everything, I'm out of whack. I'm not waking up the same times. I'm not in my normal sleeping environment, but circadian rhythm is so, so important. I think you're going to see more and more research around circadian rhythm down the road for sure. It's pounds, Mike. It's pounds, not euros. I guess I'm a dummy. I'm sorry, Juicy. I guess you're right, pounds. I guess that little symbol is off. I forgot. Like, I guess that's right. The UK is separate from the euro. I guess Ireland and all this would be the euro. Sorry about that, Juicy. You're totally right. I guess I'm a dummy with that stuff. Okay. Jeff, coffee also has a laxative effect, so it jump starts the system too. If you know what I mean, 100%. That's one of the reasons why I like the coffee first thing in the morning too. But first, when I say first thing in the morning, I don't think you just jump out of bed and then brush your teeth and then suck down a cup of coffee. You still want to be up a little bit, and that comes from reading the circadian code and reading Dr. Panda's work. And I even talked about this, and I read it on his website talking about when you're sleeping at night, right? Melatonin, like the sleep hormone, is elevated. When you wake up in the morning, cortisol, which is the stress hormone, is elevated, which releases like carbohydrates. That's why if you test your blood sugar in the morning, it'll be a little bit higher to help wake you up. But Dr. Panda talks about that when you wake up in the morning, there's almost like a fight between melatonin and cortisol. So melatonin is still elevated. So he feels that it's not good to start pounding food the second you wake up in the morning, until like melatonin really eases down, because like he even says like your pancreas is still asleep, which is kind of interesting. And if your pancreas is still asleep, that means you're not going to be able to release insulin in a good way. So if you like wake up in the morning and within like 5 minutes, throw a thing of Rice Krispies and drink a glass of orange juice, and you just like get an incredible insulin spike, it's going to be hard for your body to control blood sugar and a whole number of things. So first, even with the coffee, wait a half hour or so. I know Dr. Panda would like you to wait 90 minutes. Andrew Huberman, he waits like 90 minutes. I don't necessarily wait that long, but I'll wait a half hour, sometimes 60 minutes. But if I have it like, sometimes I'll even do the walk without the coffee, just with a glass of water first thing in the morning. It depends on my schedule a little bit. Okay. Carol Jean, I eat a small slice of my birthday cake and ice cream. I felt lousy. It's just not worth it. I know it's sometimes I'm like that too, but sometimes it depends. Like for example, like the live stream I did 2 weeks ago, I talked about how I really cut back for the week before going on vacation, and it did work. I was really strict the week before vacation, and I went into vacation almost in a state of ketosis, probably in a mild state of ketosis, with low glycogen levels in my muscles and my liver. I was like 3 pounds lighter because I knew I was going to be cheating during the week. So, maybe Carol Jean, so you can enjoy the cake on your birthday, maybe just do like a real strict week before. You know what I mean? Like so you can really enjoy yourself. I mean, you're talking about your birthday, but if it upsets you, don't do it. But I felt less guilt, and I felt less out of sorts like that, knowing that I entered my vacation week a little bit thinner, so I can kind of eat these. Like I was eating those I love it, that Arthur Avenue bread, like those French baguettes. Am I saying that right? With fresh turkey and avocado. I mean, I was eating on the beach every single day, except for the last day. I couldn't take it. Had to do a nomad day because I felt like I was going too far. I was drinking those light beers at night, with the lime in them, and I really enjoyed myself. I absolutely loved it. It was too short the vacation. We were only gone for 5 days, which really isn't enough. I don't relax until I'm 3-4 days in. I wish I could one day in my life do 2 weeks off. Imagine 2 weeks off at the beach. But it seems like everyone in the UK and Europe do that. They take the whole month of August off. I would love that. One day in my life, I'll be able to do that. We used to do a couple of weeks in the summertime with my brother and my parents, but we don't do that anymore. Hopefully we'll get back to it. Like we would split it up. But yeah, maybe prepare a little bit, Carol Jean. If people in general, I do that for all the holidays. Like before Thanksgiving, I tighten up my diet. Before the holidays, before New Year, before Christmas, that's what the holidays we celebrate. I like to tighten up so I really can eat what I want and enjoy myself. And whenever I go on vacation, I always tighten up the week before. I think I have an incredible business trip coming up with my wife. I think we're going to Hawaii, which I cannot believe. And it's just a business trip that her company pays for. And we're staying at a great hotel. I think a lot of things are going to be on the company. So I'm really going to tighten up. Probably a couple weeks before that trip, for sure, so I can really, really enjoy myself. Let's see what Juicy said. So the thermic effect of food. Let's say you eat 2,000 calories of vegetables versus 2,000 calories of pizza. The vegetables will be less. See, the thermic effect of food is a little more, I would say the relevant more with protein. Like for every 100 calories of protein you eat, it's going to take about 25-30% of those calories just to digest and process the food. So just think of thick and dense and fibrous, and just I don't know if fibrous the right well, how heavy like meat is to digest and process. So that's the biggest thing when it comes to like vegetables compared to like pizza. I would probably think the vegetables have a little bit more of a thermic effect because you get the fiber. It's denser as opposed to just like white bread pizza. I think you can. I've never seen this like a study or read about it, but I think you can almost look at it as the glycemic effect to some degree. Like anything that's going to spike your blood sugar quickest will probably have a lower thermic effect than whereas but fats don't have much of a thermic effect either, so that might not necessarily be true. But when it comes to carbs, I would say that. I say the high fiber carbs probably have more of a thermic effect, like eating vegetables as opposed to just eating like white rice or like just bread. But when it comes to fat, there isn't much of a thermic effect when it comes to fats. It's just how it is, But it's such a big thing, the thermic effect of food. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Gotta go. See you next week. Thanks, Gene. I love you showing up every week. Really appreciate it. And thanks for the super chat once again. Thanks for showing. I'm gonna end pretty soon too. I've already on an hour and a half. Let me just give my questions. And I would just want to show you my meals at the very end. Oh yeah, I saw a video where Thomas Law said wait an hour after you wake up before having coffee. I followed it ever since. Yeah, no, definitely true. I think it's because of that. He probably read all the Dr. Panda. He probably has a whole crew of researchers. He's got like 2 million followers though with Thomas. I ate some sourdough with butter on. Oh, that, I love sourdough. See, sourdough has a lower glycemic index, which is great. I did eat great, but my ankles, well, and felt inflamed afterwards. Yeah, that happens, unfortunately, too. Okay, let's end this by going over. Let me just show you some of my meals. Let me show you first what I had on vacation. This is my favorite. This is a place called Boswick's, which is a seafood restaurant in the Hamptons. It's actually in East Hampton. It's just if you notice, it's just paper plates and plastic, but I think they have the best seafood out there. They really raised the price of it though. This used to be $19.95, like $20, which is a steal. A couple of years ago, it went up, I guess, since the pandemic. Now it was $29 though, which is kind of a lot, but still, look at all the flounder they give you. This is local fresh flounder. Gotta be £1.5 pounds of flounder there. I mean, I love it. Yes, some potatoes, some string beans, whatever. I even had some bread with this. I mean, incredible. If you notice there, I think I maybe even had a glass of white wine that night. Absolutely love it. I mean, even when I'm on vacation, I still, even though I'm probably overeating calories, I still like to stay generally with my eating philosophy, like prioritize protein. I love fish. If you notice, there's a lot of butter on this fish, though. Like, I wouldn't do that at home. Plus, if I'm at home, I probably wouldn't have the potatoes, but I'm having it on the trip. But this is just incredible. I mean, I just absolutely love it. Let me give you some other. Mike, you and Sean, you are my top 2 favorite health. Oh, thanks, I appreciate it. Sean, I have to check out Sean's channel. I'm not sure if you mentioned that to me in the past. I'm going to check him out later today. That sounds great. I'm sure if you like him, Juicy, I'm sure I'll like it a lot too. That's great. I really appreciate it. And this is like, I made a big pot. This is when I was being strict a week before. I made a big pot of my bison buffalo chili. I even put the recipe. I did a short video. It didn't do well at Bond, but I wanted to do it anyway because people ask about it. So I make like bison. I buy like, the low lean. We're talking about Jeff. We're talking about lean meats. This is lean, chili. I only use half the amount of beans. I only use half a can of beans. I use like 7 green peppers, onions. I love it. This is a high protein, low carb meal. I was eating that almost every single day for lunch. I make a big 4 pounds of bison. So I was eating that almost every day the week before I went. Helped me, reduce my body fat. And then I was doing my typical salads, right, which I love. This is an arugula salad, my favorite microgreen, half an avocado, a little tomatoes, a little bit of, I think that's Arctic chard on top, blueberries, just a handful. I mean, this is how you have to eat. This is my favorite style of eating. If you're relatively new, I know everyone here may know my style of eating, but this is how I think you have to eat. Relatively low carb, prioritizing protein, high fiber, vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, different colored vegetables. I never pick the same 2 colors. If you notice, right, we got the green arugula, we got the red tomatoes. I guess avocado is kind of in the green family too. And then we got the blueberries, polyphenols, flavor, different antioxidants. Just this is how you got to eat, in my opinion. Let me give you another one. I always eat like this too all the time. Beans are slow. Okay, Carol Jean, beans are slow carbs. You can still lose weight eating beans. No, I agree. Definitely. That's why if you're vegetarian, I think beans are great. Here we go. So I got my normal, once again, salmon, my sardines, my avocado, blueberry. This is pretty much how I eat. And guys, that's how I recommend. Okay, Sean makes some amazing YouTube shorts. Really? Okay, I'm definitely going to check them out tonight. I'm going to take my walk after this, Juicy. When I get back, I'm going to check them out tonight for sure. Are those all my meals? Yeah, okay. And this is another one. This is another one of my favorite meals. I do this all the time, too. See, lately I've been hitting up these salmon roe fish eggs. I just love them. I've been getting them at Whole Foods. They're on sale for like $10 for a little container. I get like 3 servings, high in the omega-3s. So I got my smoked salmon. I think this is once again Arctic chard. We do a lot of Arctic chard. Seems to be a little less expensive at the fish market than just going with wild caught salmon all the time. Asparagus, strawberries. But see like the general concept of structuring the meal. Green asparagus, right? We got red strawberries, so different vitamins, minerals, nutrients, plus high in fiber, low sugar. We got a high fiber avocado, high in potassium, monounsaturated fat, omega-3s in the fish eggs, omega-3s in the smoked salmon, omega-3s in the Arctic chard. I'm probably getting like 60 some odd grams of protein here, high fiber. This is the way to eat, for most people. Now, if you're not a fish person, this could be a lean piece of filet mignon, and it could be, this could be a pork chop, it could be a chicken breast, it could be a chicken thigh, but this is how you want to eat. This is it. All right, guys. So I hope you really enjoyed this presentation. I love doing it. I had a blast. This is great. I really enjoyed the super chats. Juicy really gave me, everyone gave me Gene, Juicy. I know there's a couple of the people. I'll review it And thank you again. Rose gave me a super chat. I think we got a sticker from JC, which was so nice. But I really appreciate you guys showing up every single week. You know, the channel is still growing kind of slow. I think I'm at 11,000, 12,000 followers. One day I want to be at 100,000 followers. So spread the word for me. You know, give me a thumbs up. Share these videos with your friends. Let me know whatever you want me to talk about in the future. You know, I'll definitely see you guys next Sunday. You know, which is great. Yeah, thanks, Mike. Be sure to check out Sean. I definitely will. But thanks, guys. But I really appreciate you showing up. And also, if you haven't walked today, get outside, take a walk. Think of me when you're walking. I'll be thinking about all you guys on my walk. I'm going to Croton. I'm going to be walking along the Hudson River, and then I'm probably going to break my fast when I get back with a nice no-cal protein bar. Then I'm going to have a nice big meal tonight as my old mad day. We have a restaurant called Salada where you can get a big salad with most foods you recommend. Oh, sounds great. Cool, Jeff. I appreciate it. I got to get to Texas. Sounds great. All right, take care, everyone, and thanks for showing up, and thanks for all the support. I really appreciate it. So long. Take care.